Kaieteur Radio.
Guyana, join me on the Lall Show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:20 p.m. and a rebroadcast at 11 a.m. The Lall Show only on Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 and 99.5 FM.
Time check for you, Namaste. It is 19 hours 21 in Guyana and right across the Eastern Caribbean. Welcome down to the Wednesday edition of the Lall Show right here on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. The man of the moment is here. He's ready to take the floor, and I must say, I love his outfit tonight, and I'm happy to know that it will be passed on to me after this show. So you might be seeing me wearing it here, right here sometimes. If you see me wearing it, just say, thanks to Lall. With that said, sir, namaste, the floor is yours, and thank you for the progs that you're wearing first, and then you'll hand on to me.
Hey, namaste. Namaste, guys. Namaste, Guyana.
I thought I was getting the shirt.
Baba Billions. the Trini fighting for Guyana Baba Billions. Abusing down and cussing down his prime minister. Why he didn't come to Guyana to get a piece of the action. I love that man. I'm going to bring that man to Guyana. I promise you that I'll bring him to Guyana. He has to come to Guyana. He has to come on this radio station, Josh, to speak to the Guyanese people. And he can only speak to them after I brief him on what the Guyanese people is getting. So he may have a change of heart or change of mind, talking about bringing Trini into Guyana. Having said that, Ms. Harris, namaste to you.
Namaste.
We have a new gentleman in studio. I think he come here with a ton of questions. Think he would bamboozle my head. But I love the questions, my friend. Bring them on. Joshua?
Yes, sir.
It's Wednesday or Monday?
Wednesday.
I get into forget the days of the week. How confused I am, like that Trini fighting for his people. I'm getting confused fighting for the Guyanese people. But I'm getting that courage and hearing that spirit of love for what I do. So I just have to continue doing that. I have to continue the fight, so that the Guyanese people can benefit their resources. Mahatma Gandhi, Joshua?
Yes, sir.
Mahatma Gandhi said, even if you are the minority of one, the truth is the truth. It still stands the truth. When you don't want to do the right thing, when the leaders don't want to do the right thing to protect your country and its people, you just try to find all kinds of excuses to defend your stance or your position. That is what the ministers did in Parliament last week when David Patterson carried that motion for the oil companies to take full responsibility for any oil spill happen out there. That motion, like I said, on Monday was kicked out by the PPP boys and girls. So we are left at the mercy of Almighty God when an oil spill happens out there. Joshua?
Yes, sir.
I raise back that issue tonight. Again, because take it off. Because Peru, sorry about that, because Peru is going through hell right now to get the oil company named Repsol to clean up an oil spill that occurred in that country 6 months ago. That happened in Peru because the leaders didn't get the oil company to take full responsibility for any oil spill when it happened. uncle and auntie, the government of Peru now had to take the oil company Repsol to court for compensation. That matter is still pending before the Supreme Court of Peru. It may very well take another 10 years to get it resolved, so the people of Peru can be compensated by the oil company. It has been 6 months to date that the oil spill affecting the citizens of Peru. Although they would have cleaned up the shores, Miss Harris, crude oil still lingers at the bottom of the ocean floor, disrupting the lives of the entire neighborhood, especially the fishermen and their families. Girl, the amount of oil that spilled was just about 12,000 barrels. Just imagine, uncle and auntie, what will happen to Guyana when there is a well blowout. Miss Harris, that same oil company Repsol that the Peruvian government had to take to court is working right out there in our waters, in our country called Guyana. The government of Peru had to end up barring several top officials of the oil company Repsol from leaving Peru. You know why, uncle? It's for them to stay and settle the matter. If they had only left Peru, then you know what would have happened? To hell with Peru and the people of Peru. Repsol getting a better deal in Guyana, uncle. At least in Guyana, there is no insurance for them to be afraid of. And Guyana can't take them to court anywhere. I share this story with you guys for you to understand the gangsterism of the oil companies you got to deal with. It's the same thing happened in Nigeria, where Shell Oil Company had an oil spill that affected some farmers. The entire neighborhood had to be relocated because they couldn't feed themselves with seafood from the rivers anymore, or even use the land to cultivate for themselves. They had to pack up. They were forced to pack up and leave because even the land was destroyed by the oil spill. Shell just pack up, walk away, and leave those poor farmers for dead. Shell. It was an NGO, a non-governmental organization out of England, Miss Harris, that saw the advantage Shell took on the people of Nigeria and gathered a few lawyers and took Shell to the Netherlands court for those poor Nigerian farmers. That matter took decades to complete. And when the judge ordered Shell to pay the farmers, guess what happened, uncle? They were dilly-dallying. They were dancing about the place. The judge had to compel the oil company to pay. That's how those poor farmers received some compensation. Just to let you guys know, brothers and sisters, Shell Oil Company is also working out there in the same country called Guyana. You want to wait and see when an oil spill happens if you're going to get pay or not? Or you don't figure out what will happen? I gotta laugh when I hear things like this. This is what oil companies has been doing all over the world to poor third world countries, especially when you're non-whites. when you're brown, black, and purple. Yes. They can't do that in the white man country. Not at all. But these are the leaders y'all stain y'all fingers for. Saying full liability coverage of an oil spill is not important for us. And Patterson should be ashamed to bring such a motion in Parliament. Aye. When y'all stain y'all fingers for corrupt clowns and corrupt politicians, uncle, extreme danger lurks ahead for all of us. I always say, if or when you don't understand your worth, your value, your beauty, you will open your foot and give away everything for nothing. That is what is going on here with the resources by these corrupt clowns. They are giving away your $1 trillion, US $1 trillion assets for nothing, filling their pockets only, and then complaining how Guyana is a poor country. Yeah, man. Guyana is a poor country, uncle. That's what they're saying. President Ali told an audience at the Pegasus with a set of diplomats present last week how everywhere he goes, people say, oh, you guys are rich. You have oil and gas. And he would tell them, no, no, no. Hold a second. We are from a humble country called Guyana. We are poor. We need help. And we need concessional financing. Yes. We need low interest loans. Don't tell us we are rich. No, no. He said you guys keep classifying us as a poor country. So we are getting low interest loans. And let's keep it that way. That's what he told the people then. He said that in Guyana last week. Just last week. And a couple days after, he's singing a different tune to the people in the United States of America. Yes, uncle. Singing a different tune in America today. He told another set of audience in America just 2 days ago how rich we are. We have gold, diamond, bauxite, timber, and even copper. You guys need to come. Yes, come and take it. His words, not mine. You want to hear him for yourself, Miss Harris? Play that tape for me, please. Play and you're going to hear how rich President Ali telling the Americans we are. Play it for me, please.
We are working to bring cheap resources to Guyana. Everywhere I go, people say, oh, you guys are rich, you have oil and gas. I said, no, 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 hold a second. We are from the humble country of Guyana. We are poor, we need help, and we need concessional financing.
You have another tape, play the other tape, man. Let them hear the other part, how he boasting, how rich.
It's the opportunities that reside in the other natural resource sector, whether it's bauxite, gold, diamond. We're 36% of Guyana, comprised of highly mineralized area. What that means is that we are very rich in minerals such as gold, diamond, bauxite, commercial deposits of copper. These are all areas that we can now support to be competitive with the investment necessary, whether it's the roadways, the opening up of these areas, in a way that is sustainable, investing in the right technology so that we can maximize output whilst protecting the environment.
The first video, uncle, was last week at the Pegasus, telling the diplomats and other government officials how poor we are. And that video you heard just now is 2 days ago here in America, telling the people how rich you are. One day telling us in Guyana we are poor, and we need loans at low interest rates. And a few days after, he went to the United States, telling the people how rich we are, and they must come and take it. Yes, they must come and take we thing, like if them father own it. While he begging foreign banks for money to patch little road for we here, he telling them to come take we thing. Hear that? Begging for money for fix schools and bridges and hospitals. Telling foreign people to come take your trillion US dollar wealth. And begging banks for pay peanut salaries to our brothers and sisters. Somebody can help me here, man? Can somebody help me to understand these clungs we have for politicians? As I speak here, Auntie, over 40 million American dollars in oil alone per day going out this country. This is what is given away by these clungs we have for politicians, and the president saying we are poor. You hear me, Miss Harris? 40 million American dollar a day going out in oil alone. I did not say a word about the gold, the timber, the bauxite, the manganese, and the other rich minerals we have. Just oil alone, uncle, with Lisa 1 and Lisa 2 pumping. And we, president, running to foreign banks for a few $1 million loan, telling them this country is poor. Man, you really got to help me here, you know. Yesterday, ExxonMobil discovered more oil, and they were proud to announce it. And Guyana still poor, according to President Ali. We jump in for joy with the announcement of the new find of oil. But let me ask this to all Guyana, Miss Harris. Anybody know the amount of money they will be making with this new find? You know how much money that 2 oil find costs in Guyana? Where is that bill? That bill will be more than what we will be getting just to find the oil, much less your share. They hold a press conference for that. And when my reporter asked them how much carbon Exxon burning out there, they can't answer the question. These people are in the right senses, uncle. Huh? We are the 3rd richest country per person in oil alone in this world. Only Kuwait and Dubai is ahead of Guyana with oil. And here you have our president telling the people we are a poor nation and keep on begging for loans to build roads. What if foreign companies, them blocking up every second of the day? I have said many times the destruction the foreign companies doing to this country. Guyana will have to run to foreign banks forever to take loans to fix them back. It already began. I heard they just took $100 million US loan from IDB to fix the East Bank Demerara Public Road, what the oil sector has damaged. Y'all really staying on your finger for these clungs? Really? Huh? I arrived in Ghana, and the taxi driver taking me from the airport realized I am a foreigner and said to me, You need to come here and invest, sir. Lots of foreign people investing and making money in this country. He told me Ghana has tons of gold, diamond, bauxite, and every other rich mineral you can think of on earth in abundance. So I asked him, what are you getting? He was shocked when I asked him that question. He said, nothing, sir. I asked him, what the people of Ghana getting? And he said, nothing, sir. So I said to him, and you still telling me that I should come and invest to take away your wealth? I left him stunned. He stopped speaking. And I went on to explain to him. You know? He telling me how rich Ghana is. And as I was going in his taxi, while coming out of the airport, a set of well-dressed young men was begging me for small change. One of them came to the window of the car and said, please, sir, can you give me Coca-Cola money for my children? They have nothing home. He begging for Coca-Cola money for his children. That has been happening at our never done renovation airport since Adam and Eve came to Guyana. The same thing. You come out of the airport, a ton of people running begging you. But them not beg you for Coca-Cola money. In Ghana, they beg you for Coca-Cola money. Uncle and auntie, I arrived at the hotel in Ghana and end up talking to the manager. When I finished, the man was in tears. He said no one ever speak to him like that. I told him the exact thing that is happening in Ghana is beginning to happen here in Guyana, in my country. Miss Harris, Ghana is full of foreigners, especially the Chinese, eating up every piece of resources, and millions of Ghanaians ponging beer cassava to eat one meal when the day come. You hear me, man? Ghana is richer than Guyana with its mineral resources. And millions upon millions of Ghanaians ponging beer cassava when the day come to eat one meal. I was shocked when I saw some of the road signs in Ghana. Hear this man. The road signs in Ghana were in Chinese writing.
Wow.
Nothing in English or the Ghanaian languages. Nothing. Pure Chinese. When I asked what's going on, they told me it's a direction to the Chinese mining camps. What a place you're living in. Third world countries. When you're black, you're brown, and you're purple. This is what they come to your country and do to you. Yes. It's the exact thing happening here, you know. I am told the present government, matter of fact, I was told by the ex-information minister of Ghana that the present government is trying to get rid of the illegal mining by the Chinese. Yes, because they're getting nothing, absolutely nothing from the Chinese. They cannot run them out of Ghana because they are legal citizens or residents. And they went there and bought the land from the local people. So you can't run them out. So they stopped them, monitoring them. And guess what? They got the police and the army raiding the camps every day. And the taxi drivers and other people telling me that the Chinese working in the nights, fetching away the resources and bribing some of the police and the army officers. Yes. That is where Ghana is at the moment with these so-called foreign investors. The Ghanaian government encourage in that country. When you drive around Ghana, uncle, people in the masses still living in mud huts, 6 feet by 8 feet the most. It's like a prison cell. We drove in a village, and where I stopped, the first little house, I give the lady $200, which is about 25 US dollar. And she began crying and saying something to the driver and my friends in her language. At that moment, I walked over to the neighbors and started chit-chatting with them. And of course, you know, as a foreigner, they're looking forward for something from your pocket. As we left the village, Miss Harris, the driver began telling me, "Sir, you know why the lady was crying? She said she just prayed to God Almighty for $300 to pay 4 months' rent due for a mud hut she live in. Her husband and 3 children. 7,000 Guyana dollar, 4 months rent she can't pay. And she was going to be kicked out the next day by the landlord. I ended up telling the driver to turn back, to give her some more money, to ease the pain and suffering she and her family would have had to endure by being kicked out the next day out of that mud hut. Millions of Ghanaians I saw for myself living like that family in Ghana. A rich, rich, rich country with wealth more than Guyana. Jagdeo, Vice President Jagdeo, been to Ghana and stayed at the exact hotel I stayed in. It's called the Kempinski. It's a presidential hotel in Ghana. Very beautiful, outstanding. Man, I think it's one of the best hotels I have stayed in Europe or across North America. I wonder if the Vice President learned anything. I wonder if he saw anything. If he went out into the outskirts of Ghana and see how the Ghanaian people living. I guess not. Because the things he has allowed to happen in this country and still continuing to happen under his watch mirrors exactly what's taking place in Ghana and the other African countries I visited. At his last press conference, everybody heard him. Says he's going to release the contracts signed with the foreigners in our back dam, the gold, diamond, bauxite, timber, and manganese contracts. On to this day, GRA is not releasing it, and the head of GGMC, who have them, yes, said plainly they cannot release it. I must go to the Ministry of Natural Resources. We write them there, and until now we haven't heard back from them. They don't want you to see the deals they cut with those foreigners that is fetching away your wealth, leaving you to live like those African people in Africa and them in India and in Sri Lanka. President Ali and all Guyanese should also visit those countries and see how those corrupt bourgeois leaders selling out Africa and have hundreds of millions of Africans ponging cassava alone to make fufu to eat one time a day. You have a president here in Guyana telling us, with the enormous wealth we have in this land, that we are a poor country. You heard him just now. Or you want me to play him back?
Play him back.
Play him back, man. Let people hear how rich, how poor we are, and how rich we are. The second one.
Is the opportunities that reside in the other natural resource sector, whether it's bauxite, gold, diamond. We're 36% of Guyana, comprised of highly mineralized area. What that means is that we are very rich in minerals such as gold, diamond, bauxite, commercial deposits of copper. These are all areas that...
Yes. Yes. His words 2 days ago in America, telling the Americans, while he have the Chinese, the Russians, the Canadians, the Americans, the Indians, the Australians, fetching away all of it by the billions of American dollars. And what President Ali saying? We are a poor country. Running to the banks begging for loans at cheap interest rate to feed we country. Now you have oil, uncle. Let me repeat again. Guyana is the third richest per capita in the world. And we are still poor, according to President Ali. Miss Harris, you gotta love these people. And you gotta love these people, Uncle, where I'll stay in your finger for. America, with ExxonMobil and Hess. Yes, Exxon and Hess belongs to America. And Sinop belong to China. So the two countries, America and China, fetching out your oil presently, 40 million US dollar a day minimum. And Guyana still begging. Guyana still poor. And on the other hand, President Ali telling the Americans they are poor. And on the other side of his tongue, telling the Americans that 36% of Guyana comprise of highly rich minerals. What that means, Uncle, is that we are very, 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 very rich. Where we gold and we diamond, we bauxite, and so on. Yes. Telling them and telling the people to come and take it. It belongs to them, Uncle and Auntie, not me and you. He didn't mention oil in America because they don't give away all the oil to Exxon and others. Let me ask you guys this question, man. Isn't selling out a country with its resources treasonable? Huh?
More than.
For me, it is. It is. It's a crime, and the highest crime of a country, to sell out the people resources. Inviting foreigners to come and rape your country isn't treasonous, man?
Hell yes.
Huh?
Highest form of treason.
Huh? While your people living hand to mouth, man? Huh? Uncle, what these people doing to this country and your future, they should be treated just like Rajapaksha The president will run away from Sri Lanka 3 weeks ago. You know what? How he run? Countrywide protests made him run out of Sri Lanka. Made him run out of Sri Lanka because of what he did to his people and his country. You don't understand, Miss Harris? He couldn't even get to a plane at the airport to run away from Sri Lanka.
He should never have made it out.
His bodyguards, them, took him in hire car to a seawall. Then them take a little boat and paddle him out to a yacht that was waiting to ferry him out of Sri Lanka. You hear me about that?
Yep.
That is how he was able to leave Sri Lanka. He ended up in the Maldives with the yacht, and then he was flown to Singapore, where he is presently, hiding like a church mouse. He sell out almost half of Sri Lanka to the Chinese. He allowed the Chinese to put in inflated infrastructures all across Sri Lanka that landed Sri Lanka in complete bankruptcy. Uncle, Sri Lanka has a debt of 52 billion American dollars. And the report says that more than half of that debt belongs to China alone. Rajapaksa made the Chinese, uncle, build an inflated airport for 400 million US. Saying how the airport gonna be a hub and gonna bring money. It has 2 flights per day now. They don't even have full-time employees. Can you believe a 400 million US dollar airport doesn't have full-time employees? They only got part-time people working when the flight's arriving. It's a highly indebted, burdensome white elephant the people of Sri Lanka is left with. They also built a deep water port for 1.4 billion American dollars for birds and flies to lay eggs and nest on. When Sri Lanka couldn't pay the loans on the deep water port, they had to hand it over to the Chinese with a big chunk of Sri Lanka called Bantan Tota. Y'all Google these things, uncle, and you will see these things for yourself. Glaring. Glenn Lall didn't pluck this out of thin air. It is factual. Anything I've spoken on this radio since going on to 2 years now is factual. No one can dispute what I'm saying here or what I have said. This is what the Chinese has been doing all across the world. Bribing your politicians with a few millions to build ports, water ports, airports, roads, railways, highways. And when you can't pay, the hammer come on your head. The hammer doesn't fall on the leader's head. It falls on the people's head. Yeah, man. 4 weeks ago, Sri Lanka needed 45 million US to import fuel so that the country can remain alive. And they couldn't find that nowhere in the world because no bank is going to give a poor dying dog anything. Nobody wasting their money there. The entire population, uncle, of 36 million people is on bicycles and motorcycles now. You know why? Because of one man named Rajapaksa, who run the country for four decades. Him, his two brothers, and his nephews eating up 70% of the yearly budget in Sri Lanka. You hear me, man? All the entire budget. He, his two brothers, and his nephews, their nephews, were eating up. Every single thing they had their hands in and their eyes on. Anything ring a bell here in Guyana, uncle? Huh? The foreigners are everywhere in Guyana, especially the Chinese. 9 years now, them renovating your airport. It started at a price tag of 138 million American dollars. Now it's 170 million and still counting. That money can give Guyana 3 brand new international airports with runway in all 3 counties we have. A Guyanese, Miss Harris, who built the North Carolina International Airport, told me, Glenn, I could have built a brand new airport and add the piece runaway for less than 30 million American dollars. He said he's ashamed when he passed through the airport and see what is supposed to be a modernized international airport. It looked worse than a foul pen. Uncle and Auntie, that airport should have had 8 bridges to walk in the plane. It only has 4. Imagine we pay for 8 and get 4. Everything they said the airport should have been is the opposite. The modernization has become maybe a Prostinization, if I pronounce the word right, or if it's a word. Yes. That's what they continue to do with that airport, with no shame whatsoever. If God forbid and I ever turn a leader in this land and I don't go to jail for the things I do into this country, man, change my name. Uncle, just in case y'all don't know or forget, the PPP government in 2012 was in talks with the Chinese to build a deep water harbor just like the one what birds sleeping on in Sri Lanka. And it's the Kaieteur news that exposed it. And that was never materialized. It never came to pass. Had that happened, the Chinese would have already owned 3/4 of Berbice, just like Sri Lanka, or they own half of Sri Lanka. At present, the Chinese take over the port, the Sri Lanka port, bringing in boats, boatloads upon boatloads into Sri Lanka through that port. Hear this piece, Miss Harris. You know the port in Sri Lanka that they took over? They have their own police. They have their own immigration. They have their own customs. So you know what happened there? Bantantota in Sri Lanka is now a part of officially China. You can travel, go do what you want to do, carry in what you want, bring out what you want out of there. That is what Rajapaksha, the man who ran away in a little boat the other day, left Sri Lankans in. They lose a big chunk of Sri Lanka to the Chinese and still got the debt, the same debt on their backs from China on the projects. You understand? So they don't only take over the port, they still over the port. Don't ask me, uncle. I don't know when the Sri Lankans will come out of that bind the ex-president, the man will run away, put them in. What I do know is Guyana is heading in that same direction with these corrupt clowns y'all have as politicians. All of them in the opposition and in government. They went and borrowed 190 million, some from Britain and IDB, to build the Linden Mabura Road. Oh, let me ask this question. Of what benefit that will be to the Guyanese people? Me and you, uncle. Can somebody tell me? You figure out why they're doing this. Figure it out. Or you want me to tell you? They're doing this so that they can huff and puff out their share into their family pockets. The new government, Auntie, in Sri Lanka, I saw just banned the brothers of the ex-president were run away from leaving Sri Lanka. I hope they face justice and spend the rest of their lives behind bars for what they have done to the poor people of Sri Lanka. Then, while I was in Africa, I saw the ex-president of Angola dropped dead in Spain. You saw it, Ms. Harris? Yes. He been there for medical help and dropped dead like a crapo. All the money he and his children thief from the Angolan people couldn't build a modern facility, medical facility I am talking about, to save him. He made his son, uncle, his son, a young man, filthy rich by putting him to head the national oil company in Angola. That same son used to fly to England, and the authorities there in England had to block off whole streets so that he alone can walk and shop. That is the life, eh? That is life you can live. And got millions upon millions of Angolans, yes, living with barely 200 Guyana dollars a day. His daughter, Auntie, a lady named Isabella de Santos, is the richest woman in Africa. Yes, the richest woman in Africa, Isabella de Santos. That is what their father, the president for 3 decades, made them into. I am so happy too that I saw the new president going after them for the money they stole and hide all over the world. They can't even go back to Angola. They are living out of Angola presently as I speak. Like I said, the majority of 33 million Angolans living with less than $1 a day. You want to hear the average income per month? 5,400 Guyana dollar a month. That is the average income. That's the monthly salary Angolans get. That is what these leaders have done to their people, uncle. Let me ask you guys. Let me beg you people. Are you going to allow your leaders to do the same thing to your people here, man? To you? Huh? When will I hear your voices in the streets like the people of Sri Lanka? When you guys will wait and become like Sri Lanka? When you guys will wake up? Where those people pounding and wake up like those people in Africa where they're ponging cassava to eat 1 meal a day. When you people gonna wake up? It's only a handful, uncle and auntie. Only a handful of people eating up everything in this land. And it is very clear. It is glaring for every one of us to see and you to know. Let me remind you guys of some of the things they have done to you already, in case you forget. As soon as Vice President Jagdeo take over office, not now, before, the GPC, a company that used to bring in big money in the treasury, end up in a best friend hand for next to nothing. Yeah. The whole of the Guyana Rice Board with the wharf also end up in another friend hand for next to nothing. The Berbice Bridge, who is the single largest shareholder inside? Y'all know? Find out is who best friend. Attack it so much that I fed up calling the name. The Marriott Hotel, who are the private persons Jagdeo and Ashley Singh installed there. Anyone knows? The Granger administration couldn't even find out that. That hotel was built. With me and you money, uncle. And it was not inflated. It was super inflated. When I heard the price, let me share this with you. When I heard the price, I fly to Miami. And when I landed at Miami, if ever you go to Miami International Airport, 3 minutes away on Lejeune Road, 3 minutes away from the airport, you have a compound with 8 Marriotts inside. The Marriott Inn, the Courtyard Inn by Marriott, and every Marriott you can think about. 8 of them. I end up talking to the manager to get in. And the two we start gaffing. And I ask him, what's the cost of these hotels? When the man tell me, he said, Mr. Lall, these type of hotels cost maybe 50,000 US per room. Per room. A matter of fact, to build a high-end hotel in this world, the most sophisticated, like the one I went, that Jagdeo went in Ghana, Kempinski, that hotel, that's a fancy hotel. That one maybe 60 or 65. Maximum, the manager said, Mr. Lall, 75,000 US dollar per room for a high-end hotel of the world. Uncle and auntie, guess how much Jagdeo and Ashley Singh built the Marriott per room for? 300,000 American dollars per room. That is 60 million Guyana dollar per room. I been there. You think I gold or diamond, so don't ask me. It's a simple, ordinary. If I am to rate it, it's not even a third, a three-star hotel of the world. And whose best friend they install inside? The Marriott. To this day, no one knows. Who was getting all the drug contracts from the Ministry of Health all the years under Jagdeo and Ramotar's president? And who still continue to get it up to now? Who's best friend? Y'all know? I ain't calling name. I fed up. Who get the entire Sonata complex, including the government water well inside, worth over 40 million for next to nothing. Who get it? Who's going to be installed at the Amelia Hydro Falls secretly? Who best friend again? Since 2007, y'all hear Jagdeo wanted a project. And to date, them still got them eyes on it. Yes, they got a mindset to rob the Guyanese people through their best friend or the bestie. Yes, what they want to install inside. Telling we it was a Chinese project. Let me ask you, uncle and auntie, who will be installed secretly in the gas to shore project at Wales they want to bring? Who they going to install there secretly? Y'all know? They're going to install their best friend again when Guyana would have foot the bill to build the entire infrastructure. Yes, these are the kind of things they have been doing to you people, and you either don't know or you have been naive and still silent. I will bet my last dollar none of us will know that when a Wales project kick in and they install the private people. You know why, uncle? Because just like the Marriott, they will deliberately put in confidentiality clause to hide their dirtiness, their connivingness, their deceitfulness. Yes. And when you talk about all these things, they're ready to sue you. Brazelton sued me 19 times. I don't pay him 37 or 38 million dollars. And I got 12 more cases in court with him. He is a man who loves to instill and install confidentiality clause in our day-to-day resources. Yes. Giving away time bundle with secret people and telling us we mustn't know. I don't pay Ramotar to $25 million. What did Judge Seamus pay him? For asking questions about the Kaieteur Kanji oil blocks. Man, I got to do a special program on all these things to explain in detail later. It is quite clear, uncle, that these chaps don't intend to do the right thing for you and all of us in this country. Every time they open their mouths, if it's not half-truths, man, it's complete misinformation they're giving y'all. You guys just heard him. Y'all heard them in Parliament. Y'all would be hearing them every minute of the day. And I encourage you people to listen to them. Stop listening to the newscasts. The newscasts only nice it up to suit what them want y'all to hear. I will end with this last piece. I don't think you guys know or ever heard of it. Y'all know the border ground, the border cricket ground would have also disappeared from Guyana, from the Guyanese people, and land in the hands of them best friend too. It's true. True God, I'm saying. Thank God Almighty that the document was leaked to me and we exposed it in 2013. Is the best friend again. Is the best friend again that sent in a proposal to the cricket board to buy it. And they leak the document. And that's how I get it and expose it. If not, the entire cricket ground with its land would have disappeared from Guyana. You hear that, Bernard? You never hear it, right?
I never heard of
Yes, man. Yes. The best friend I got gain, they wanted it. Because I expose it, they jump and say, well, the man only wanted to put in a proposal because it locked down there. And using it. Oh my gosh. You know, it's so sad. It's so sad. These chaps will stop at nothing, uncle. They're trying to grab up as much as they can and as long as they can. The oil blocks, Kaieteur and Kanji. I wonder whose best friend is the beneficial owners of them. I'm just asking. I can't get sued for that. I could talk non-stop, uncle, on these things they did with y'all assets, y'all livelihood, and y'all future. But I will stop here for tonight. I will ease for tonight. Tomorrow we are reporting in the Kaieteur news that President Ali signed a MOU for a $2 billion loan with a bank in the US. 2 billion, yes. Now watch me like that. Today, we carry the story tomorrow. Uncle, Guyana since Adam and Eve came to Guyana, we have about 3 billion US. Not 52 like what bankrupt Sri Lanka. Only 3. I don't know if that debt is being serviced. What I do know is that we are borrowing money every year to feed ourselves and pay salaries. And in one shot now, President Ali seeking 2 more billion in debts. Panaya back. What happened in Sri Lanka and many of the African countries? Yes, I am boldly telling you guys, it's creeping in faster on Guyana than one can think of. God bless you guys. As I bid you guys good night, I want to tell all of you to listen to a man named Lubumba. PLO Lubumba. Patrice Lubumba. I tried to meet him when I was in Africa, but he was in another country. He promised that at some good time we will meet up. Sorry, you guys. Sorry, you guys on Facebook and on YouTube can't listen to the tape. We are going to send a link so you guys can click on it. All right? That we'll play it after we take a few phone calls and respond to some of the questions or comments people would have made on our page. Miss Harris, let's hear you.
Yes. I just want to add that, as you said, the things that have been happening in Sri Lanka should be a cautionary tale for the Guyanese people. It didn't take very long for Sri Lanka to get in this position. A matter of a few decades, that's a generation, for their country to be completely sold out and given away to the Chinese. And if you look at what's happening in this region, in the Caribbean region, a lot of Asian, a lot of African countries, the Chinese have created a foothold in these countries, meaning that they have ingratiated themselves into the society so deeply, as is the case in Ghana, you can't get rid of them. And it's not that we are xenophobic and anti-foreigners and immigrants coming to Guyana, but what is there for the Guyanese people first? It has to be about the Guyanese people first, second, and third. Everybody else, that's superfluous. But I just want to say that the things that are happening in this country are very, very similar to what's already happened in Sri Lanka. And look at Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has millions of people. Guyana doesn't even have 1 million people in this country. And we have so much wealth that on one hand, the president can go and beg for investors to come here to exploit what we have without even creating the conditions necessary for us to benefit and exploit what we have. But he's so confident that he's telling these foreigners to come and invest and take everything without creating anything, any kind of benefit for the Guyanese people. So these are the things that people need to look at. They need to consider whether the policies and the things that these politicians are promising them are actually of any benefit to them. It's nice to hear that, oh, we have development is happening, but if the citizens of the country, the most important resource that any country has, aren't benefiting from what's happening in the country, is there any benefit?
Ms. Harris?
I don't think so.
Ms. Harris, the people that they're bringing into this country, every single one of them, they're not investors.
No, they're exploiters.
They're exploiters. They're here to thief our resources. They're not bringing anything. I did programs before showing this country how they're running with a few cents, right? Get these license, corrupt the leaders, and get prospecting license, and began prospecting. And when they find, they hire a few trucks, a few Guyanese, and start doing the mining. And as they catch the hand, they kick out the Guyanese with their trucks, right? And carry on. So they're not investors.
Nope.
They are robbers.
Exactly.
Yes. Good night, sir. You're live on the air.
Welcome back, sir.
Thank you.
I know everything what you said is positive, what is going on in Africa, because I follow a lot. Mr. Lall, you're a great job, and thanks what you do for them people, you're going to be repaid. You see these ones who we have for leaders in our country, time is coming for them, Mr. Lall. I am the pensioner who called the other day, and to now, I suffering and my family suffering, Mr. Lall. Right? You understand that they use pensioner NIS money and build bridge and Marriott and all kind of thing. What happened to the people today? We can't get the money, little money they give me. The cost of living is too high, Mr. Lall. Cost of living killing people in this country here. You understand? But they can pay for everything we see to do. Every single thing we do to us in this country, they are going to pay for it. It's time coming, it will reach soon, Mr. Lall. Don't worry, everything we are saying is truth. And people in this country have to wake up. They have to wake up. If they wake up, something wrong with these people in this country. Then see what's going on with these people in Sri Lanka too. Eh? I know the friend you're talking about, I won't call his name. He first name begin with B, and the second name begin with R. I know them good for them years. I know. You understand? I move around this country a lot. So, Mr. Lall, thanks for what you did for those African people in Africa. And bring it and show these people what's going on in this country. I don't know when they would wake up. Anyhow,
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
In the panel.
Thank you. Good night. Good night.
Welcome.
Good night. Yes.
Yeah,
Bernard,
good night,
you want to
everyone.
take the floor?
Yeah, Glenn, you know, when you become a cricketer or a singer or some professional, you know, who do you look up to? You want to be like the best cricketer or the best singer, right? These clowns we have in this country who wants to be presidents and leaders. Instead of trying to be like JFK or Churchill, you know, or the best president in the world, they want to be and they are looks like they intend to be like the worst pieces of excrement, the corrupt clowns in Africa, the corrupt thieving leaders in Africa, like the Obasanjo, right?
And the Putins.
And the Putins and the worst of the worst, right? Why you don't want to be like the president of Dubai and the president of Kuwait, right? Give your people a part of their money, of their natural wealth. You want to steal it. You don't want to steal for yourself. You want to encourage all the foreigners to come in and steal more. Don't we have enough foreigners stealing already? You want to bring more to steal more? I mean, this is beyond Guyana has a lot of poor people. The majority of people in this country are poor, Glenn.
Bernard, when you stain your finger for people who never run a cake shop, right? Or who never sell on the pave, on one of the market stalls, how you expect them to run a country, man? You know?
But Glenn, do they think that the Guyanese people stay stupid forever? Every time they open their mouth, instead of trying to stand up for the Guyanese people, they try and defend these thieving foreigners, defend the oil company. They try and defend that stinking garbage of a contract. Right? Everything that comes out of the mouth, they defend ExxonMobil, they defend everything that comes out, they defend those. They're trying to defend the indefensible.
All this thing can change, and it can change overnight. If the people of this country get out into the streets.
Like the Sri Lankans.
Well, that's,
If you get out into the streets, this can change.
well, that's what
You
I'm
notice, one second, you notice you're not hearing anything from Aubrey Norton. You notice you're not hearing nothing from Kemraj Ramjatan. You have seen what the vice president, he have not speaking, he have not been holding press conferences. Even your president not holding press conferences to talk about nothing. They're going overseas to talk to foreigners on your wealth and what is going on in Guyana. And you're not hearing a word from them. All this thing can change, uncle and auntie, if you guys only wake up and get out into the streets. Protest makes wonders. Trust me. I am in the streets every day. Since I come back, today I went out at Houston. Every day the people protesting there. And I will be there every day. Even if I got to stay 10 minutes, I'm going to go out there and protest with them. You guys have to join us. You got to follow. You have to understand what is going on. Your future is at stake. Your children and grandchildren's livelihood is at stake. Go ahead.
Well, thanks to technology.
Hold 1 second. Let me take this call. Yes, good evening.
Hello?
Good evening.
Hi, Mr. Glenn. Welcome back. We
Thank you.
missed you.
Thank you.
My first question is to Bernard. Mr. Bernard, when are you going to hold a plaque sign with our rally group and say you are part of our group? I have never seen you in any one of the video with our guys. That's a question you're going to answer later. My next question will be, Mr. Glenn, if you know, and I know, that even if you run a cake shop in America, a cake shop, you require insurance. How dare that these guys as politicians are saying that you don't require insurance? Anyone know that if you own a business, you will or want to have insurance to protect yourself against any liability? Are these guys really politicians or are they a bunch of clowns?
Thank
My
you.
next question, Mr. Glenn, is that these guys were summoned to Washington, to the State Department. Don't think they went there because the American government invited them. They were summoned there to talk about corruption and how they silence the people that speak out against them. American government is not stupid. They know exactly what these clowns are doing.
Thank you. Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
Mr. Bernard, could you please answer that question?
Thank
I'm
you.
waiting for you that answer.
Mr. Bernard will not answer that question. I will answer that question for Bernard. You are not here when Bernard was holding a placard. And Bernard is almost every week he's out there 2-3 times. He doesn't have to hold a placard to show that he's protesting. His mere presence in that protest, he tells you that he's part of it. Yeah, Bernard, go ahead.
Yeah, Glenn, I want your reporters to ask the president why he tells us in Guyana we are poor, but when he goes in the world, goes in America, he asks them, he tells them that we are so rich and come and take riches. There has to be a reason for that, right? You're telling we in Guyana we poor, so we're not going to expect anything. But when you go to the foreign country, you tell them we're rich and come and take it, right? So they're going to take all of it, so they're going to leave us poor. What are we, fools? Let them know those foreigners don't vote for them. Guyanese people vote, right?
Well, you see, those guys have studied the society we have, and they know, rain or sun, their supporters will go and stain their finger for them. so they can do whatever they want. You know, I think I can say this boldly. Jack Day was running this country as if he owned this country.
Still is.
Yes. Yeah. And right now they're doing it worse. They don't care who say what. They're doing what they have to do. You know?
Because
Look. The gas to shore project. Until now, they didn't tell this nation nothing.
Where's the feasibility study?
They didn't tell this country nothing. They're going ahead with it and installing friends inside.
Of course.
The whole Jack Day held one briefing, and you remember he tell the media, don't tape it. You can't record it. Imagine you're the man who running this land, heading the oil sector, going to indebt this country in excess of $1 billion American on a project, and you're not holding a press conference. You're not telling this country. You're not showing this country facts with figures whether this thing is going to succeed or if this will lead Guyana down the path of Ghana or Sri Lanka. You know, this is look what Winston Brasington did with the Amelia Falls project. The guy just held his briefing to the oil conference and says boldly that Guyana has no risk. And behind him on the board has 10 risks, and out of the 10, the 6 most dangerous one falls on Guyana. You see how conniving and deceitful these guys are? You can sue me for that too.
Glenn, but they're getting away. Where is the opposition leader? What is he opposing? Right? When the one said, oh, you can't actually a couple of more money because it costs inflation, why isn't he coming out and say that is nonsense? Right? All want to talk who eat war and who eat this and that in Parliament. They disgraceful behavior in Parliament, that's all they do.
You people got to start looking for leaders that can take this country away from these corrupt clowns that you have.
Yeah, but in the meantime, they need to hold them accountable. They need to harangue them at every opportunity.
Exactly.
Embarrass them and shame them.
Mm-hmm.
Because when your children are starving in their beds and you don't have anything to feed them, these are the people that are causing that to happen.
Mr. Lall, I have 2 questions for you. I would like to ask you if the government of this country is purposely neglecting the city, if they have a sinister motive behind it, because for all the infrastructure they're talking about, all the boom they're talking about, Guyana is not moving in that direction presently. And
You know, that's a nice question you ask me, because every night as I drive home, at the beginning of Georgetown, which is the end of Agricola, the coalition government put up a beautiful arch there, well lighted. You know, it looks beautiful entering the city and going out, leaving the city. For the last week, part of that, the lighting, fell down, right? And it looking like a Yazi arch now. You know, your government can't fix that. Could you imagine this? You know, you got such a beautiful thing falling apart, and nobody in authorities sees that to fix it. So when you talk about, so the question you ask about if they're neglecting the city, they're neglecting Guyana and the Guyanese people in every sector of this country.
Exactly.
That's just the manifestation.
These people have no pride. They have no life. They have no decency. They have no decor. You know, look at them, listen to them when they speak, and you know who they are. These are hungry belly people, just ready to eat up and snatch up whatever they can put on. Everything they can put on, man, on. Look how many times we talk, you know, just before the election, I remember, 2 weeks before the 2015 election, you know what the Ministry of Health did? Took out $12 million US contract and hand it to their friend. We carried all those stories, we reported on it. You know, that is just in case they, you know, they come out, which they did. The contract already gone out to their friend. This is the kind of a lawlessness. This is the kind of disrespect these leaders have for the citizens of this country. Yeah, you say you had another question. Go ahead.
And with the second question is with the concerning the liability, the motion that was moved in Parliament, where the House Speaker is shut down. Where do we stand now if tomorrow morning we wake up and we have a massive oil spill in this country? Where do we understand?
I would have just answered a question throughout this program when I said what happened in Peru,
Yes.
and what happened in Nigeria. Two oil spill, and Repsol in Peru run away. The people had to bar the officials, the oil company officials, from leaving the country until this matter is resolved. And Repsol, they walking out there in real waters without any liability coverage. And the other one, Shell, is right out there too. And you see what they did to them poor farmers in Nigeria? So these things speaks. I answer these things very clear.
Volumes.
Thank you for the
sir.
question, Lou.
Thank you, sir.
It's very clear.
Thank you, sir.
You know, even if the judgment that the court made against Shell, nothing will come of that. Absolutely nothing will come of it, because that's just the most recent case in a long number of cases in Nigeria where
No, I must correct you.
local and international courts have made judgments against these oil companies and they've never paid a cent, even from the 70s. These are facts. I studied these things in school. I know them as facts. They don't pay, and there's nothing they can do to enforce the judgment.
Yes, the one with the one in Ghana, the 12 farmers that took decades to pay, they were forced to pay the people.
But you can imagine.
But many others, you're correct.
Yes,
many
that's what I'm saying.
others,
There are many,
the oil
many,
companies
many,
walk
many,
away and
many.
didn't pay.
Ogoni land in
Even
the
in
Niger
the-
Delta,
even in the-
completely ruined.
Even in the United States of America.
Exactly. They don't pay.
Exxon
And
rob
the
their own
court,
people,
the court has no jurisdiction or nothing, no powers to make them pay. And then the next point is the value of something that happened in the 1970s. You take 50 years to pay me about what happened in the 90s. Do you know how much value is lost?
Yes.
That same money doesn't mean anything to me as it would have meant to me in 1970.
That money could have
Due to
made
inflation
you,
alone, yeah.
that-
Exactly.
Right.
My
right.
life is already ruined. 2 generations have already passed.
Exactly.
What is that money going to do for me at this
It
point?
becomes nothing.
But this is what they do. The oil companies purposely frustrate the judicial process so that you never get any justice. And if your government isn't proactive and does anything to safeguard the country's purse, then this is exactly what's going to happen. To
I am
Guyana.
still waiting. I am still waiting for somebody to call me and tell me they have found a lawyer to help me to fight this insurance matter in court. Somebody needs to take them to court. I can't find a lawyer to do that.
I have a question here from someone. It says, Mr. Lall, how can you tell a government minister to go bag his or her face?
Yes, I did that on Monday.
How can you?
How can I do that?
Because you have a mouth and
Man.
an opinion,
Man,
and you're a Guyanese citizen.
to tell them,
Nonsense that comes out.
to tell them to go bag their faces for what they're doing to this country and its people
It's a decent
They
thing.
have
with
no
my
shame.
wealth and my children and grandchildren wealth. Tell them to go bag their face is a mild sentence.
Very mild. Very
Precisely.
mild.
You know,
Very
you know,
mild.
you don't want to know what's in my thought
Come and
Really
listen.
or
want
what
to
I
tell
really want to tell them.
They gotta come.
What I
after
want to
the
tell
show.
them, I'll tell them in their face.
Thank you.
They gotta come after the show.
Bag their face?
And that's the
Huh.
next problem as well.
You're lucky I only say bag their face.
These Guyanese people, some of them have such a slave
One other thing.
mentality that no, this overdo, the over respect that you have for these people. Know that these people are employees of the
Yes.
state. The institution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana is who employs them. They have
Exactly.
a job, just like you have a job, you have a job, you have a job. They have a job to perform. And if you're to judge them, they don't do a good job. On any accounts, they don't do a good job. So stop respecting nonsense.
You only give respect when respect is due, not when it's nonsense that comes out of their mouth. But one other thing, the contract that Exxon signs, if there's an oil spill, they will only pay legitimate expenses.
Oh gosh, I don't even want to go to
Yeah,
that.
that's
Right?
what I said.
That's what the
Remember
contract said. It says they will only pay legitimate expenses.
Legitimate
You
costs.
says who's gonna pay, who's gonna decide what is legitimate and not.
Exactly.
And it's not the Guyanese people.
No.
Mr. Gregory, you understand what Bernard just said there?
No, sir.
All right. What he said there,
Legitimate.
the insurance coverage, the little insurance coverage that the oil companies were able to garner from these insurance companies, the insurance companies will only be authorized to pay Guyana if the damages were legitimately caused by the oil company. So who will decide that? So if you have an oil spill and them say it wasn't their fault, you have nothing to get.
Exactly.
That's what it means
will
in a
happen-
simple one sentence.
Exactly.
You have nothing to get. They will decide, they will tell the insurance company whether to pay or not, whether they are at fault or not.
Exactly.
How can you have an insurance, the little dark pen money insurance, and then say, well, if the damage, only if the damage happened legitimately, only if we are the cause of that. I'll spill, like somebody else, like Trinidad can come and cause an oil spill there, not them.
They're taking away all the money, all the profits.
We have a caller here. Caller, good evening, and go ahead.
Hi, good evening. Good night to everyone.
Good night.
I'm just calling to I have two questions here for Mr. Lall. Earlier today, I saw a post on Facebook by somebody from the government, and he was making a comparison between Guyana and Suriname in terms of the deal we got versus Suriname. And he made a statement via the post saying that it's that the media that are peddling certain things that Suriname got to be better deal than Guyana is actually lying. So he made a comparison. I'm going to read it to you. He has Guyana on one side on one column, and he has Suriname on one column. And he has the heading offshore projects. He said for Guyana, 4 projects have been approved, 2 producing at US $4 billion. And then he has Suriname for that same bracket. Suriname has 0 projects approved and no annual revenues as yet. Then he goes on to say that over 28 billion US was invested in Guyana, and nobody's invested in Suriname as yet. And he goes on to say that 2.6 billion barrels have been approved, and in Suriname, none has been approved as yet. Over 60 wells have been drilled in Guyana, and in Suriname, there's no long-term commitment to drill any wells. So he's actually saying that
Can you hold on the line?
Suriname is not benefiting. So
can you hold on the line?
How do we? What comparisons? Can you explain to us how Suriname is benefiting
He's lying.
and how Guyana is losing at this moment?
Can you hold on the line, please? Don't go off the line.
Nonsense.
That person need some business
Me, Jesus.
sense.
They're dishonest.
How can if you're comparing Suriname, you got to compare the deal to what Suriname has as to what Guyana has. Suriname getting 6.25% royalties,
36%.
non-recoverable. Guyana getting 2, and the people them can take it back. Not can, and the people taking it back. Suriname
36%.
get 36% taxes. Guyana get 0 taxes. Suriname get
20% stake.
Suriname has a 20% stake in their oil blocks. Guyana
0.
doesn't even hold the water on the oil block. And off my head,
No,
Suriname
62.25%.
total take
62.25%.
is 62.25%. Guyana barely get 12 or 11.5%. So if we are to compare, that is factual.
You're not even getting
Now
water.
on the things the person would have went on to talk about is invalid. It doesn't make any sense. Suriname is not pumping oil now. Guyana is pumping oil. So what comparison do we have there? There's no comparison.
It's a false equivalency.
You know,
Exactly.
you cannot equate demand.
Exactly.
You can't equate what they're pumping.
Exactly.
You know.
And Suriname is making money. Didn't we carry a story in the Kaieteur a couple weeks back? Suriname is
30
already
million
making
signing bonus.
money from their oil. They are.
Exactly.
One small block, they
kind
got
of
30
And
million
beside
signing
that,
bonus.
Precisely.
beside that, to the caller, let me say this: you cannot compare what's happening in Guyana to what's happening in Suriname now. We can only compare the deals. You understand what I'm saying, sir? Because
Yeah, I understand.
Guyana,
And I must inform you that this post was not only did the guy share it, but it was also shared by the Ministry of Natural Resources.
Wow.
The Ministry of Natural Resources agreeing with this comparison, and
That's
this is
so
the
irresponsible.
ministry that is responsible for our oil sector.
no man. Don't tell me the headmaster minister. That is where he gone to. Well, then he really got to go back to start teaching kindergarten
Nursery
children.
school. Yeah, nursery school. That's where he belongs.
How can you compare a mango field next door to this mango field that is producing? How can you do that? How can you compare how much money a man spend on a mango field that is producing and a mango field that is not ready to produce yet? What kind of argument is that?
None.
Huh?
Nonsensical one.
The person who's asking that question, a matter of fact, tomorrow I'm gonna look at it and maybe I'll talk a little more on it on Friday. Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, I would like you to. I need some clarity. Recently, I have been attending a few functions. One of them is the hotels that they're building up on the East Coast. And what I noticed is that this same company that is responsible for the airport contract is actually being contracted by other companies or private entities to build hotels in Guyana.
Yeah.
And I heard you mention how China takes over a country. I would like you to explain. I have a lot of questions there to see a company that came into Guyana to do government project and is now doing private contracts while the airport is still under renovation. And it seems kind of funny. Can you explain to me if this might be something that we should look at?
The Chinese are contractors. They are contractors. They build roads, they build highways, they build railways, they build skyscrapers. They are contractors. So they are doing government bidding, like what they are doing presently. They have built the Sheriff Street Road. Which other road they build? They build
East Coast Highway.
They build the East Coast Highway. That's their profession. That's their job. I think Pegasus
Same company, China Harbor.
hired them to build the new Pegasus. So it's okay. I can go and hire them to build my skyscraper if I want. But is the price we're paying? What we have to look at is that the cost, the price the China Harbor really took from Pegasus to build that as to the cost the Chinese took to build the Marriott or the airport. That's how we have to equate it. Because of course you can't come and con me. You got to come to me properly because I am the one who's paying. But the Chinese are known to be corrupt. So what they do, they're going to corrupt the government. And that's how the people are get screwed.
Yep.
Is it possible that they could also be using the concessions they get from the government contract to do other projects as well?
Oh boy, that's a $1 billion question you asked there. That's a $1 billion question. I want to talk about. Let me don't talk about it now. I want to do a special program on that because hold on, because that is exactly what's going on in Kenya. I sat down in Kenya having a drink with an ex-minister and 2 other politicians, and there was a doctor from LA on vacation in Kenya. And that's exact topic raised. And when I spoke, the doctor was like, "Oh my God, Glenn, yes, yes, yes. And he left for LA back the same night. He left us. And I have to do a special program on that next week. Next week doesn't pass me to answer the same question you asked here. That's $1 billion question. Thank you. Any other question you want to ask? But yes, any foreign contractor, Glenn can hire, you can hire, Jordan can hire, Jagdeo can hire, Norton can hire to come and put up their building or their project or build whatever, build a road, whatever.
What the call is probably alluding to is the fact that it's the same faces and names that keep popping up. You know, there's this nepotism that we have going on. It's always the same people, you know, the trusted people that they have to do their dirty work, you know? Obviously, when you know that this is how this company is going to work, you're going to continue using them.
No. One of the reasons why I would go for the same company that build them, they already have everything here to build. You understand? For me to go bring, let's say, Bernard from Trinidad, he got to come with a whole, you got to bring about 25, 30 containers of his crane and material and tools and equipment, you know, for bring. So it will cost me cheaper to hire a man. It's like hiring a carpenter with a saw, a hammer in his hand.
Yeah, somebody who's
and
set up
a
to
man
do.
who doesn't, a carpenter who has to go buy a hammer and a saw and a spade. All right? Well, I'm showing time is up, but please don't forget, I'd be playing a little tape for you guys. Please listen to it before you go to bed, and do have a great evening. God bless you guys. Go ahead.